It's a bird. It's a plane.
This is Jason J. Lewis, the voice of Superman on Justice League Action.
This is Mark Wade, writer of Superman Birthright.
And you're listening to The Krypton Report.
Welcome to The Krypton Report, the All Things Kryptonian podcast, where we talk about anything relating to Superman, Supergirl, Krypton, DC Comics, and TV, movies, video games, comics. I am your host, Tyler, the Superman of Blue, the Man of Tomorrow. Welcome to this episode of Krypton Report. It is I, the Superman of Blue, Tyler, and with me as always is that hunky man himself, that good-looking man from up north, not Santa Claus, but Mr. James Cole. Welcome, James.
Hey, what's up?
You know, just chilling, keeping it real here in Ohio on this perfectly fall day. So,
it's a beautiful day.
This we're having, I guess, I didn't know about it, but like my little town's having a community yard sale, and this one dude has a tent just full of pop figures. And there's too many that I could literally spend too much money, and my wife would kill me. But I bought for myself, I bought the Joker, Jack Nicholson from Batman '89 pop figure.
Oh, that's awesome.
And though I might go back later and buy the Kid Flash that he has. But I mean, they're really awesome pop figures. But the ones I really like and I want, but I'm not paying $45 for a pop.
Yeah.
Okay. 15 is that kind of like moment. Because usually they're like 11. Sometimes you can get them a little bit cheaper, you know. But there's a couple he had that were like 15. I was kind of like, But man, he has all the Big Bang Theory characters as the superheroes. And I really wanted the Leonard as Green Lantern. But I'm like, I'm not paying. I think it's like he has 45 on it. Let me pull up my pictures. 35. So it's 35 for Leonard, 45 for Penny, 35 for Wolowitz, 55 for Sheldon as the Flash. He sold his Raj Aquaman.
He sold Raj Aquaman.
Yeah, and I'm just like,
See, he had those, and I want them all so bad because I bought my daughter the Penny Wonder Woman, and I bought it from the store, so I got it for like, 10, 12 bucks, whatever it costs at the store.
Yeah, a reasonable real amount for a piece of plastic.
Yeah, a reasonable amount for a piece of plastic, yes.
I'm just like, dude.
And I told her, I said, you take care of it, or I'm taking it for my collection. And now that I see they've got all the freaking heroes, them all dressed up, because that's one of my favorite episodes.
Mine too.
Is when they dress up as the Justice League for the New Year's party.
I don't think they ever made one of Zach, did they, as Superman?
Not that I've seen.
Yeah, I don't think they did. I always liked Zach. He was a cool character.
Yeah.
So
he was so dumb. It was so funny.
Oh yeah. Man,
look, it's a bird. It's a plane.
Or when he's like, someone's breaking into that car, and he looks down into the symbol. He looks back up, and he was like, "Man, that's away."
That's the smartest decision he made. Not trying to stop people from stealing a car. That might have been Zach's last appearance.
Nah, he came back later.
No, I mean, he would have died.
Oh, gotcha. I was like, he came back. But yeah, I totally get what you're saying now. Yeah, Zach is a smart man in that episode. But hey, this isn't the Big Bang Theory podcast, though it could be.
I'd do it.
With all the comic book, it's crazy. I tell my wife that I can tell you what time this episode was made based on what comic book stuff they have in the background.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's at this point in time, Jew, because that issue's over there, and that issue's right there.
Yeah, so much of it was made during the New 52.
Yep. All right. So what did we have that came out news-wise?
Do we want to start with the worst, or are we just going to wait because it's the newest?
What, for the news?
Yeah, Aquaman.
Oh, yeah. So I'm going to later, I haven't done it yet, but I just been busy. I'm going to film today. I'm going to film my kids' reaction watching that trailer and just see how they are. Because I'm afraid, like, even my kids, I'm like, this is dumb, Daddy. So we'll just talk about it right now. So they showed the first trailer for the Aquaman King of the Sea cartoon, and it's garbage. It is like firing garbage. I don't care. You cannot convince me anything else. Even if the writing's so good or whatever, then put money into the animation, okay?
Yeah, they went super cheap.
Even like the Adventure Time, like it's like the Adventure Time animation, and I can't stand that show.
It looks worse
like,
than Adventure Time, in my opinion.
You know, I thought Teen Titans Go was dumb when it came out because I was mad because it replaced Young Justice. But holy crap, watching the trailer for this Aquaman, Teen Titans Go is like the pinnacle of human civilization of animation.
Teen Titans Go looks like Young Justice compared to Teen Atlantis.
I mean, it's the same thing. I told you, like, you know, I sent you, like, kind of my breakdown was, you know, in 1980s, we had Thundercats. And then in 2011, they rebooted, or not 11, 2001, 2002, 2002. God, I can't talk. They rebooted it. Was it 2011? I don't even know time, man. I can't tell what time it is.
That edgy, awesome-looking animation one?
Yeah, it was a little bit more anime, but they rebooted it really serious with, you know, stronger animation. And it was great. I highly recommend it. It's on Hulu right now. And now they have Thundercats Roar, which is the same type of animation as this. So instead of like rebooting stuff and making it better for kids, they're making everything dumber. And just
everything has to be shorter. You know, like who knows? It'll probably end up being 3-minute clips of that show. You know, these days, the way everything gets shorter and shorter, it's like, you know, just promote a short attention. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
make it so nobody can pay attention to anything for longer than 5 minutes.
Right. I mean, and then we have, you know, Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is 4 hours that I can sit through like nothing, or the Lord of the Rings that I can sit through like nothing.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings marathon.
Because it's done well and like it holds your attention. I mean, yeah, if you're conditioning kids to just watch garbage for short periods of time, I mean, Quibi failed for a reason too, people. But anyway,
no, the animation looks terrible. I thought, didn't they say before that Jason Momoa was going to do the voice? Wasn't that announced when it came out, or when they announced it?
I thought so, but maybe
he saw it and was like, "Oh no."
He was like,
I'm not doing that.
No. You can pay somebody cheaper to sound like me.
Yeah.
I'm going to come over here and be awesome in the real movie.
Right. No, so I'm putting it on again here.
I watched it twice because I watched it once on my phone and I was like, what the? And then I was like, watch it again because I was going to have the kids watch it. But then I just got busy.
Well, and they've made every citizen here in Atlantis, they're all fish creatures. The only people are Aquaman, Mera, Vulko, and what looks to be Orm. Every single other person is a fish creature. When they were all people in Atlantis.
What looks to be Orm? Because
we don't
even know who's who.
It looks like it's Ocean Master, but it's terrible. Just I really don't even know. And it says the animated trilogy. King of Atlantis, the animated trilogy.
Right. Is that just mean it's going to be like in 3 parts or something? Or, I mean, I look at like they did the DC superhero girls and they did like the really kind of pretty animation that was like the YouTube shorts. And then they made the 3 movies. That was like that weird time where they were like doing like YouTube couple-minute episodes and then doing like full-length movie DVDs. And then they rebooted it in the show, which is like 10, 15-minute episodes, 11 minutes, whatever. And they changed up the art. And I was like, that even is better than like this. I mean, I'll watch that all damn day. Yes, I said that.
Yeah, I've watched it on Netflix with my daughter.
I enjoy watching it with my daughter on Netflix. Like, it's fun, you know. And that, to me, that's the line of like, it's goofy and I don't like to using the term stupid. you know, but it's goofy and it's dumbed down enough just right there for kids compared to what this Aquaman looks like. And
yeah, parents tend to go like, it's stupid. Not really stupid. It's just, kid sensibilities.
It's like for our generation, they decided like, let's make something that kids will enjoy and love, but talks on a different level. And that's why, I mean, I say this, like my dad, not a huge comic book person at all, but he liked Batman and he loved Jack Nicholson as Joker. But he would sit down and watch Batman the Animated Series with me and my brother. Because that was a show. I mean, you could have put that on prime time. And they did air a couple episodes just as like a premiere. But it talked on different levels. Think of Batman the Animated Series, even Spider-Man the Animated Series, X-Men, Gargoyles. And then, the last stand of that was like Young Justice.
Yeah.
Seasons 1
quality
and 2.
storytelling, quality animation, and
Right.
something to think about as well as
right, where parents can watch it with their children and really get something out of it and enjoy. And the kids my kids like watching Young Justice with me.
These cartoons today, so many of them just seem so mindless. And that's what this Aquaman looks like. And, I mean, we're Snyder fans. Everybody listening, they know that. We're Snyder fans. But we also support everything that DC puts out. We want to see it because Snyder's not the only person who makes DC or who can make something good from DC.
Every cartoon that DC has put out, or every TV show, or I have watched it.
Every animated movie,
I have tried. I own a lot of it. I was like, I support the brand as long as it's.
This is going to be a challenge.
Yeah, this one I'm going to watch the first one just so that we can talk about.
Well, we got to get an idea. Yeah, we got to get an idea. We got to see what it is. I mean, we're judging it from the trailer. It's a 40-second trailer, which seems about all the attention you're going to need for the show as a whole. And yeah, I mean, I've got it paused right now on the frame of Vulko, Aquaman, and Mera standing in front of.
We're gonna do this. Hold on, kids, come here real quick. This is the barometer, people. Children, Solomon, Selah, please come join me.
It might appeal to the
right. So this is our
3 to 6 year old audience, and that's about all this would have.
All right, kids, I want you to watch this video, and I want you to talk real loud. If you think it looks good, looks stupid, or what? Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Stupid's not a bad word. Now, for all the...
I've got an adult here watching it with me. You got children.
All right, so my kids are 4 and 6. Okay, I'm going to have to turn the volume down a little bit. Ready, kids? Watch this.
He is Aquaman, and he just became King of Atlantis. Thank you. Different from we could know, and the fate of his people, of his whole of all the world is in his hands. That's right, he had no pressure. Join Aquaman for the undersea adventure of a lifetime. Aquaman, King of Atlantis, new streaming October 14th on HBO Max.
All right, kids. Talking to the mic. What do you think?
Well, it looks kind of. There it is. But it looks kind of weirdish. But the thing, so I like it.
Okay.
But it looks kind of weird.
Okay. So you'd want to watch it?
Yeah, but. So actually.
Just talk.
So if you see there's a new Spider-Man game coming out.
Solomon, focus, buddy. Okay, we're talking about Aquaman. What do you think? Is it
okay? Looks kind of weird, but I want to watch it.
okay? There we go. From the horse's mouth, people. All right. Thank you, kids, for joining us for this special comment. Okay. All right. So
Hey, just follow me.
you guys go play. Okay.
Hey, whatever. Bye.
Yeah, nobody 10 and older is gonna enjoy the show.
So I guess they hit their target.
Single digit audience. That's their target.
I mean, and this is why we don't always record live with our children are crazy. All right, so yeah, I guess we'll just move on from there. I guess we're just getting old, James. But
Yeah.
I just demand more from my quality, from my animation. You know, like
Well, you know, so we have said that, you know, DC does need to put out more family friendly, quote unquote, animation and things like that for families, for young children to bring them in. Maybe they are.
There's got to be something at least the family wants to watch. I mean, you know, I bought the season of Crypto the Superdog for my kids to watch, and they like that. I'll watch that with them. I'm interested in what this little Batman Christmas thing is going to be.
Yeah, me and my kids watch Teen Titans Go. We even watched Teen Titans Go see Space Jam.
Yep.
Which is just the Teen Titans watching Space Jam. You watch Space Jam more than in that. It's literally watching the original Space Jam cut down to fit the Teen Titans.
Yep, it's hilarious. It's
It
great
is.
marketing. And you know, I bought the episodes where it was Teen Titans Go meet the superhero girls, and we watched that. So, and I'll watch superhero girls all day. Okay, and we have great shows like Stargirl. So, yeah,
You know,
All right.
maybe we're just seeing it too surface level, because it does say it's from the director of Aquaman and it's from James Gunn. Maybe there's more story than we're seeing. Maybe this trailer was just for the audience, you know, 10 and under.
I like your optimism, James. I like your optimism.
Let's go with that.
All right, guys, we're gonna go with James's optimism today. So, good job, James. But all right, everybody, let's keep moving here. What else we got here? News-wise, they dropped the trailer for Injustice on the polar opposite spectrum of animation.
Ooh,
Man,
yeah.
What did you think of the Injustice trailer?
Well, we know the story, and we know it's tense, and it really made it that.
I mean,
Like,
it looks good.
Yeah.
You know, it looks so good that I have a friend of mine who I've talked to, and we've podcasted on other stuff, and him and I always talk about like movies and stuff, and it looks so good that he actually messaged me and was like, yeah, I'm gonna buy this when it comes out. And usually he's like a little behind on some of the DC stuff, so I just was like, wow, this has to be something intense and good if, you know, he's telling me he's going to buy it and wants to watch it immediately. So I'm just like,
Well, you know, so let's look at it this way. People know the story. Some people love the story. People love the game. Some people hate the story. Some people don't like it. Our brothers over there at LSK,
yeah.
or at least Connor, anyways, because, you know, they feel that Tyrant Superman's been done better. Which in different stories, this one's different. You know what I mean? I've always tried to say that this one's different. You know, Superman has been the tyrant in different ones for different reasons. This one because he was tricked into murdering basically at the same time he murdered his wife, his unborn child, and the entirety of Metropolis. Like, this is the story that breaks the Superman we know.
Yep.
This is a different tyrant story than we've seen. This is a broken Superman, not just a Superman whose ideals are a little more misconstrued, who forces his will on. This is a broken Superman, and this trailer gets that across.
Yeah, I mean, there's a difference in like losing the woman that you love and then being responsible for murdering the woman that you love.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're talking Kingdom Come. We've got Kingdom Come episodes coming. We've got 2 out so far. And Lois is killed by the Joker in that. She's the Daily Planet is killed, and Lois is killed along with them by the Joker. It doesn't break Superman that she dies. Sure, it discourages him, and he does turn away from the world. But he doesn't try to rule the world. He doesn't try to change the world because of what happened. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Lois isn't just his anchor that's keeping him from. A lot of people see it that way. That Lois is his anchor that keeps him from becoming this bad character or a tyrant forcing his will on others. When that's not the case. Like she does help him stay grounded. She does help him. She helps him get away from being Superman. She allows him to be a person, the person that he is. She's not just his anchor to keep him human, So I think people have that ideal misconstrued with some other interpretations. You know what I mean? She's his wife. He's he loves her. She's his family. She allows him to be a man, a person. A real person with a real life, and not just Superman.
Yeah, I mean, I hate the idea that, it makes me think, going back to Smallville, the episode where basically Davis Bloom, the only thing that's stopping him from going full doomsday and killing everyone is Chloe, and I don't think that that's kind of the same thing with Superman. Is like, if it wasn't for Lois, he would just, he would be
Doomsday or something. Yeah, no, that works for Davis. That works for Smallville. And I think Chloe telling Lois that at the end in the season finale, to marry Clark, it's more layers than just,
it also it helps Clark remember he is a man, he is human, just because, he has friends, but sometimes even those friends are all super elevated because they're all superheroes. But,
exactly. He needs a real world. Look at our politicians and all that other stuff. You know what I mean? They haven't lived in the real world in decades. They're out of touch. They don't know anything. If he was always looking down at the world, he'd be out of touch.
Politicians being out of touch. That's a great segue, James, to talk about today's episode of Supergirl.
Maybe I should have held that until later. While we're talking about injustice here.
But it is. How many times it boggles my mind, people who live life one way and then their circumstances got better, and now it's like they're completely out of forgot what it was like. Not everybody's Jenny from the block. You know what I'm saying? But even then, I think she was lying.
Yeah, but so yeah, it's different being the person who was forced to. And not even making the choice. He didn't make the choice to do that.
Yeah.
He was tricked into it. Which is something we don't actually get to see here. How intense is that going to be when we see? Because we know what happened in the comic. He sees Doomsday. And he attacks.
All I know is the first time I read that first issue, when it first came out, it really got to me emotionally. So I can only imagine what it's going to do in the video.
Yeah. So, I like this story. I haven't gotten any of Injustice 2 yet, but I have the entire series of Injustice. Tom Taylor started it and wrote the first 3 years, and it's fantastic. I love Injustice, the way it incorporates the entire DC universe, and from the first look we saw, we didn't get to see it in this, but it looks like it's going to span more than just this movie anyways. So I enjoyed the trailer. Very tense. I think the voice actors are doing a good job. I like Kevin Pollak as the Joker. Anson Mount did a good job as Batman. And I'm looking forward to seeing Justin Hartley's performance as Superman. It's to turn evil.
I agree with you. Like, I like the cast, okay? No, hear me out, people. I like the cast. I almost just wish the cast was in a different movie. Just because I'm used to playing the Injustice games and hearing those voices and then reading the comics and hearing the voices from the game because it was the representation that we had.
Yeah, I mean, we got George Newbern, Kevin Conroy, Susan Eisenberg. They brought back the All-Star cast.
So I'm saying that I'm not going into the movie with a closed mind where I'm like, oh, it's not this, I'm going to hate. No, that's not what's going to happen. All I'm saying is I just kind of wish it was the voice cast from the game.
Yeah.
But I like the cast they got, and I almost wish they were in a different movie, but we'll see. You know, we'll see how it goes. It could have been kind of funny, like if they would have got like Justin Hartley as Superman, Tom Welling as Batman.
That would be hilarious.
You know,
the interesting thing, you know, we got these characters. It's an adaptation of the comic book and how much of the game as well. Like, we don't know exactly what we're going to see throughout this movie. We only know certain story beats.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, I'm really looking forward to this. And it comes out next month. I really enjoyed the story. I like the games. Every now and again, me and the kids will jump back in and play. And so, yeah.
I like the games too. I really wish we would get another one. Or, like, I wish almost we would get like I know I'm saying this, but just hear me out, a Batman-centric fighting game. Because there's a lot of cool characters they could bring in. Because, let's face it, you're playing this game and you're Batman fighting the Flash. In all reality, the Flash should be moving a lot faster than what he does in the game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, yeah, a fighting game is cool, but like when you have all the characters fighting, it's just interesting.
Yeah. I mean, that's why they came up with the idea of magic green pill, so that way everybody had a opportunity, you know, to fight against each other. Yeah, fun games.
All right, so let's move on to our show proper. We're going to talk about this episode of Supergirl. We're in season 6 now, and this episode is entitled Still I Rise. Season 6, episode 10, directed by Supergirl veteran Jesse Warren. And I'm just going to say this right off the bat. I like the idea of this episode, but I wish it could have been done a little bit better. Because I do like the episodes where Superman and Supergirl kind of get involved and go more Golden Age, you know, where Superman's taking on corrupt politicians and thugs. And I like the idea that Supergirl was using her power and her voice to try to just change perspective and let people know on things. But there are some parts of this episode where I'm like, I hate harking on things, but you can definitely feel like the COVID protocol in this episode. Like just the 2 people in one shot, you know. We have one scene with multiple people in it, you know, towards the end, but most of it's like 2 people in a room. And then if you look at the way they transition a third person in, you're like, oh, okay.
Or like, those scenes with multiple people in it, they're like, you know what they did? They set them up at the end of the hallway, 6 feet apart, and they're like, go, 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 go. And they're all like running down the hallway in a staggered line. And
also, if you look at the way they shot some of it, is like a over the shoulder, you're like one shot in particular. Okay. It's Nia's mom talking to her, but instead of seeing her, with the voice, you're looking at Nia's face. And when you do those type of shots, one person could have a COVID mask on, and then you just put the voice, you dub the voice in ADR, and the other person doesn't. So, I mean, it's the beauty of film and what you're able to do. But yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, this episode,
they pull it off.
Oh yeah, they do. They do. I still say that this show and The Flash feel like they were hit the hardest with just the protocols and everything. Superman and Lois, you don't even notice. They just have a way of doing things. This episode starts right where the last one picks off. So this season has been very much has the feeling of this is ending. The next one just kind of continues on with it, where this scene picks up. Nia is with Nixley, and Nixley summons her mom and locks Nia in her apartment for 24 hours with her mom. Which, in all reality, that could be its episode in itself.
Yeah.
Where they're like, "Where's Nia?" And then because we never really saw anyone. Nixley makes a comment about, "Well, my magic will redirect their thoughts to something else," and we never really saw that. So it was interesting,
Nobody even thought of Nia.
I think there was one line Kara did, I think, earlier in Catco, but it's so fast, and it's not like anyone else thinks about it.
It's a single scene inside Catco.
Yeah. So we're gonna kind of just talk about Nia real quick, just because we'll keep her. But
she's pretty isolated, so
her and her mom are doing their training. My herd of Gallimimus just ran through the room. No respect, people. No respect. And her mom says, "I came to you as an owl," and she's like, "Oh, that was your owl?" Yeah, like
the owl sitting on her mother's shoulder and flying to, and her saying that mother revered owl, stuff like that. Like the way that they say stuff in this episode, it's like, you have been intentionally
I feel like this storyline,
you say it out loud and you just ignore it. You ignore your own.
Yeah, you're purposely being dumb. Okay, I'm sorry. I feel like this storyline with Nia, I'd have to go back and rewatch season 5 again, but I feel like this should have been her season 5 story arc.
Yeah.
This should have already been handled. You know what I'm saying? So.
Nia's been in, and she's always had troubles interpreting. Basically, it's something that always just shocks her. And she's like, "Wait, this must be it," and they just run with that. And for the most part, it worked out throughout the series. It's only more recently, this season and the end of last, that she'd been interpreting dreams wrong, and they'd get there too late, or something like that. So, I mean, they built to this, but it's not a concern she ever had prior. I guess if you're not making mistakes, then you wouldn't be concerned. Yeah, it just pushed her to the point of, like you said, being dumb. Like, she literally spoke to the owl in the last episode and blew it away.
It seems like they're just trying to rush and get storylines across. And then, her and her mom work on stuff. She finds out part of her issue is the ravens that she sees as Maeve. And, at the end of the episode, her mom's disappearing, and now Nia, is empowered to go. And I really like the story her mom shares about she says an ancient story about a woman who slanders her best friend, and she's trying to make amends for it. And she says she goes to the rabbi, which was cool, it was a rabbi, and says, take a feather pillow and like rip the pillow and, spread the feathers and all that.
Spread the feathers to the wind.
Yeah. And then now go pick them all up. You can't. Like, that's what you've done. You can try, you can pick up some and you can clean it. But, what you've done is that it has this effect. It has this ripple, and that's going to be carried. And you're talking about, the choices Nia made, releasing Nixley and what that, the repercussions that's going to have. So I thought that was a great illustration of what's going on. So that kind of wraps up.
Yeah, it does. It just seems like they're using dramatic actors.
Yeah.
The story was good and the resolution was good. Hopefully now, and it is a story beat that they kind of left hanging back when she showed up and she got the powers and Tom died, because they always wanted Maeve to have the powers. Maeve always wanted the powers. I mean, it is a storyline, just kind of. So it is something that they're picking back up.
It's not that I hate it. I just feel like it should have already been addressed, because I felt like last season, I mean, I know COVID happened and stuff, but I felt so much that for most of last season, Dreamer, they just didn't know what to do with. But
she's been Dreamer since season 4, right? Did Nia show up in season 4?
That's what I was sitting there thinking. I want to say she showed up in season 4. Everything feels just thrown together anymore, so I don't know. All right, let's move on. So who do we want to talk about next? All right, so we'll do this. We'll talk about Brainy and Supergirl do a very nice, they refer to themselves as the Super Friends with their Eat Your Broccoli and Greens PSA. They're no Captain America, okay? But it is funny. She's like, she's talking to Brainy like, oh, can we please not air this or show it? And he's like, it aired 20 minutes ago.
It went live 20 minutes ago.
and
the only thing he sees wrong with it is her hair is a little messy.
Yeah. And I'm just like, oh, that would be horrible. But, getting kids to eat healthy is not a bad thing.
No. It's an important message. But not the issue or the message that the show this season is working towards.
And see, my thing is, they set up this PSA thing, and then I feel like they try to use it again in this episode, but it just feels weird. So it just feels it felt clunky. Like these were episode ideas that they were like, okay, we're just going to shorten this down and put them all in this one episode. Because we find out, continuing from last week, that Orlando loses his home placement because the building is being voted on, sold to Orkaya or Industries, Okoya, like some big place, and they talk about that's going to bring jobs and growth, and we'll get there in a second. And basically, he lost his housing. He's an ex-con. He will not be able to get his brother because he doesn't have housing. And he explains it beautifully, like, I can't get a job until I have a house. I can't get a house until I have a job. And I'm back to living on the couch with a friend that got me in prison in the first place. And supposedly Supergirl makes a statement that we see off screen, and then decides that she's going to use. Andrea has this big thing about social media takeover with Supergirl. Oh, right. Instead of just writing articles or printing stuff or whatever. Okay, that makes sense. Andrea has this great line of hashtags or battle cries. One thing can take over a movement. Just going to pause there for a second. All right, moving on. We all know what I was pausing for. Release the air cut, Snyder cut. It doesn't exist. Okay, now I have the DVD and the 4K in my hand, but whatever.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, yeah, it's definitely relevant to DC these days. But these days, everybody believes everything they see on social media. Social media is now basically people's freaking news.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what comes across it or how idiotic or how untrue it is. People take it as gospel.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, that's one thing, and that's one problem that we see. But also in this episode, the problem is systemic. We as a people, and especially in this country, the system is designed to run people around in circles.
Yeah. I mean, Orlando explained it beautifully, like the problem that he has. And we're going to get back into that in a second, because we're going to dive into it with a quote from the council person. But so Supergirl's going to go live and talk about it on an iPad with William. You remember when Catco had live broadcasting equipment in season 1?
Right.
That you could probably tap into the social media. But anyways.
Oh, yeah. They had cameras. They had.
That scene was weird. Just because, like, we never saw Supergirl's statement. And then people are like, why don't you want us to do stuff? Like, why are you trying to hurt us? You're talking about us being hope and all. And she's like, I'm like, this just does not feel right. It just did not feel like the type of scene that Supergirl would be in. I felt like I needed more from it, because I needed to actually see her with her original message and bringing awareness to this vote that's going on.
Well, I mean, the message of the episode is you can't just hear people saying that there's a problem. People need to see the problem. People need to experience the problem and have something to rally towards. It's just not the idea of the problem.
And I agree with that.
Which I think is good, because that's all we hear about these days is, everybody's saying something, but, until people shove it in out on social media and in people's faces, nobody's even thinking about it.
Or, I mean, just until someone has that person to connect with. And, it's Kelly that says, when you talk to supervillains or whatever and bring them down, you always bring up like personal stories and you bring it back around, and that connects with them. And Kara's like, oh yeah. So she brings Orlando to the meeting, and they vote and all that. And the council people vote to not, allow the company to come in or whatever. And I just feel like this whole episode, that could have been the biggest plot point. You could have saw more of just the bureaucracy, and there could have been more drama in that, and more of like this debate about it. Because so the councilwoman basically says to Supergirl, you might have got the board to vote against it, but not me. I'm not for this. You're going to give this neighborhood to the criminals. She talks about it bringing jobs and growth and progress. Tells her to leave the politicking to her. And Supergirl says, and I did not get a chance to write down the term, but basically all the people that live in the neighborhood now would be priced out, forced out, because they're going to bring this company, it's going to bring all these jobs and all this, and then the people that will move there will be making more money. So the people that live in the neighborhood, period, won't be able to afford living there anymore. And that's an interesting concept of when you think about they building up these neighborhoods, but then people can't afford to live in them. Yeah. You want to bring growth, you want to bring jobs, you want to bring opportunities, but is there a negative side to that? And I feel like that could have been more explored in this. I mean,
well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it can be, you can have both. Why are you going to raise housing costs and force people out who can't live there You know what I mean? You're literally trying to isolate the neighborhood and make it one thing. You know, it's not a mixture of things. I mean, Supergirl says you're trying to gentrify the neighborhood.
There's the term I was looking for.
Yes, gentrify the neighborhood. Like you're forcing out any element that you find you're forcing out the element that you don't find would mesh with your way of life. I mean that happens all the time. I mean that's happening today.
Yeah,
forcing people out of their homes. It's constantly happening. And you know what's happening in this episode. Brainy. What was the term Brainy used for people who end up becoming repeat offenders?
Yeah.
You know.
He talks
and
about
I have
statistics and the math of it.
Yeah, and you have no doubt that some people are trying to enter back into society, and because the system won't let them, they're forced to have to go around it, and they get in trouble again.
And I mean that's the sad.
And obviously, the message got across, and that's what we're talking about instead of the episode.
Yeah, I mean, and that's part of my point is like, you know, they did do well with it. So, all right, so let's keep chatting here. We got the other point was Nyxly's. You know, and Nyxly in this episode she's got something going on, and so the guy. What's his name? I have it written down right here. Mitch, who is part of Maximum's menagerie. Nyxly basically sees him because he kidnaps her. She tricks him and convinces him to help her. And it was very interesting because he helps her, and they're building a trap for Supergirl. But it ends up being a cryo nuke. Right?
Yes. Yeah, cryo nuke.
And it's interesting because what we find out is, jumping ahead, is not only is it a cryo nuke, it is also a way for Nyxly to regain her powers. And it is so cold that it can actually freeze Supergirl and trap her. So... yeah, that was interesting that we have this scene, and I mean the episode ends on a oh my gosh. It's basically Supergirl shows up. They find out that you know the cryo bomb that she thought she destroyed with her heat vision is something's going on. She shows up to the building they were trying to save, and basically, Supergirl's heat vision helped power the nuke, the bomb. It gave Nyxly exactly what she wanted. And Nyxly turns that around and Ice Leg imprisons with magic Supergirl. What do you think about all that, James?
I mean, Nyxly manipulated the I can't even remember his race now. That sucks. Anyways, his name was Mitch. Nyxly manipulates Mitch into kidnapping Dr. Desmond to create. I mean, they did I like the actress as Nyxly.
Mm-hmm.
She's doing a good job, and I think she's doing well. You know, playing. Everybody plays a little different. You know,
Mm-hmm.
especially we've got people like Mia, Brainy, and Nyxly, and we've got all the other aliens in this show.
Yeah, we got a bunch
So I
of
think
aliens in the show.
Yeah, so I think the actress is doing well. I like her performance. It was interesting how she. I mean, I don't even know how it's at all possible. We're talking about like fifth dimensional magic and alien technology and whatnot. You know, and they don't bother explaining it, which is fine. It's super science. You either come up with BS explanation or you roll with it. It's literally how it goes.
Just roll.
Yeah, we're comic. Get one or the other. And yeah, she blows it up. She uses her heat vision. She gives her the power. Like she charges it, and it allows Nixie to get her powers. Which, I mean, I'm excited that it's not just an episodic villain for Supergirl. Mixie showed up before. We had the Music Meister in the musical episode. So these fifth dimensional beings have been like one-off episodes. Last time we saw Mixie, he was good. He was
the best version we've ever seen.
100th episode? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the best version we ever seen. It was good. So to have her show up, get her powers back, and be like the season villain so far, I'm enjoying it. I'm glad she's got her powers back. I think they did an all right job, you know, kind of spacing it out. She got out of the Phantom Zone. She was trapped in the Dream Realm. Now she's out of the Dream realm, and she's finally got her powers back. I think they did a decent job taking it step by step here to make it farther, you know, to extend her character farther. So.
Yeah, and then what I think is interesting is, you know, the episode ends where, you know, Nixley gets her powers back, Supergirl's trapped, and she's like, it's magic, and then you just hear Supergirl yell from Mr. Mxyzptlk, and then he starts to form, and then it ends. And I'm like, sweet. So we knew he was coming back, but I like that's how it ends. Like, so it means like the next episode is probably going to pick up right where this one left off, where, you know, Mixie's going to be right there and he's going to try to help Supergirl.
Yeah. And if it doesn't pick up right where it left off, I mean, it will in a way. Like, it'll be like, this is what's happening. I'm just saying because of magic,
Supergirl.
You know?
Yeah.
It'll be like a magical thing happening. Then they jump back to that was only at or something and pick up right with.
Yeah, it'll be something cool.
Yeah. So I'm excited to have what's his name?
Thomas
Lennon? Is that his name? I was pretty sure. I was pretty certain on the last. Couldn't remember.
I remember the first name. We got this, James. Let's go.
So, yeah, we were happy to hear he was coming back for this season as Nixie again. So, yeah,
I'm just
looking forward.
I'm just happy we got a decent Mixie because, you know, the guy they got the first time Mxyzptlk showed up, I like how they kind of retconned that. Like, oh yeah, I was just trying something. Like, he was just. It didn't feel like Mixie. It didn't feel like him. You know, he was, you know, very posh looking.
We've only got two Mixies that we can really even acknowledge. I mean, the guy from Superboy, that actor fits well live action, and I mean, it was a product of its time. The actor was good, give it that. And then we've got Gilbert Godfrey as animated Mixie.
Well, I mean, you got what do you call it? You had what's his face, Howie Mandel, as a version of Mxyzptlk in Lois and Clark.
Oh, I forgot about him. I have to get back to watching Lois and Clark on HBO Max.
Yeah, like he was a version of Mr. Mix. Mixie. I can't say his name. I can't even talk. So, all right.
I wonder how many times Melissa had to say Mixospitalik to call him.
Oh,
for the end.
what they did was they were like, all right, Melissa, just say it. They got it once. They're like, we recorded it, and now we're just going to ADR it every time you have to say his name. So you nailed it one time in an episode. Don't worry, we got your back for life. And she's like, yay. But yeah, so great episode. As far as just doing something a little bit different. I know some people have had like issues with it. I don't mind these kind of episodes because I like seeing something a little different at times, and it's kind of refreshing. I like these characters interacting in the world, and I don't always need them to be punching aliens.
Yeah. It's so we're in this time now. We've got these movies like all these movies and these shows that are super serious, around big and epic. Just saw Shang-Chi and pretty huge.
Mm-hmm.
So when we get to see these shows on network television, CW, it kind of feels nice coming back down from like epic nature to see what's happening, even with Supergirl, what's happening on the street.
Mm-hmm.
These shows, the quality and production is different, cost as much, characters are caricature-like. From time to time, especially like off aliens and stuff. We described the first part of the season when it came back as like Power Rangers.
Yep.
The makeup and effects and the characters and stuff. And for some reason this season I'm kind of enjoying.
I agree. It's something different. So all right, let's see. Let's look at what we haven't done in a while and look at some comics. What do we want to look at comics-wise today, James?
Oh, honestly, I don't even know. Only thing I didn't get my books this week until yesterday, and then my shop didn't get the Batman Superman annual that you read last week. They got it this week.
Awesome.
So I just picked it up yesterday, and you said it was good. So, Harry.
This is Dan Jurgens, and if you want to have a good time, keep listening to the Krypton Report.
So now we're going to get into comics. James and I have been a little behind just because of life, and we wanted to get into it. So we're going to start with, we talked a lot about how we love Tom Taylor. So we're going to start with Superman, Son of Kal-El.
Which we've been loving, yes.
Yeah.
Superman and Son of Kal-El #1. Cover is an homage to Superman #1 from 1939. Superman got his solo book. I love the cover. Looks great. Makes me wish I had both of them, like frame original #1 and this one together. That would be fantastic.
I love for a while, like I haven't seen them in a while, but like DC was reprinting some more of their like landmarkish issues for $1.
Yeah, the dollar comics. Yeah, I like.
I was loving it because I was getting those for the kids because it was like, oh look, here's a new comic, and it was $1. They did Hush. They did an issue of Nightfall. I would love. I have a reprint my friend got me of Action Comics #1 that I love. Like it's not really worth anything, but I just love having that imagery in that book. And it's kind of the same thing with this. I would love to have a reprint of Superman #1, just to have, like you said, the two comics next to each other.
Yeah, that would be great. So we open up to a battle, an invasion happening. Got Martian Manhunter, John Stewart, Superman all out in space, some stuff, and they say he needs to get back to the fortress. Go back to the fortress, and we've got Batman outside, Wonder Woman inside, and Lois is in labor. Lois is giving birth to John.
Which, okay, first of all, I really don't like this. I will be honest. One of the biggest things was always Superman not being able to have children with a human, and then they found a way around it with Convergence. Superman had no powers. He was, and
in Convergence, every being with superpowers was depowered underneath the dome.
So the whole time she was pregnant, and then originally on Superman and Lois, they were at Argo City, and Superman didn't have any powers, so Lois was able to conceive and give birth.
They even went back to Argo so she could be pregnant on Argo and give birth to Argo, for fear that the sun could make the baby dangerous to Lois's body.
And I think that is an interesting story. Now, I mean, this is beautiful. Don't get me wrong. But I just feel that it just is a retcon I really did not need. Because it takes, once again, this is now Infinite Frontier style. So it almost takes place of it makes me ask, okay, well, if you're getting rid of that, then you got to give me more information, because now, did they ever live in Hamilton County? That whole story of, Superman and Lois, where he's technically the black suited Superman, I guess that didn't happen. So all those great adventures didn't happen. And then did John go off with his grandfather?
Well, I think, it's just the restructure of the universe, you know what I mean? Well, I mean, he had to have gotten aged up.
Exactly. So
anyways. I don't know. I mean, it's, it was the reformation of the multiverse again after Death Metal. Once again after. So, it allows them to be able to retcon things time. But, I mean, it's a product. It's just a product of telling stories over multiple generations. I do like the end of the opening where Bruce and Diana have an interaction. Bruce said, run some tests. His unique physiology, Kryptonian human, he could be more than Clark. And Diana says, Bruce, you have a reputation, and it isn't helped by tests on the child of our friends. She says, regardless of his powers, he will have the passion of Superman, fierce commitment, Lois Lane. He could be. It's a nice start to John's life.
It is
very good start to the issue.
And that's like one of those where I'm like, I see what you're doing there. So it's like, But yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of it, but I like that. It works. So it's just like, okay, I'll roll with it.
They nailed the ending of that segment.
It's comics. I'll roll.
Right. Then we go to California and wildfires. Lots of stuff is burning. People are being saved from homes, firefighters, Superman, John Kent. And he has the suit that he has been wearing with the sharp cuts on the S and everything, the triangular gold belt. And he's looking to help for the fire, and he's looking to help put out the fire. And he discovers that the fire is coming from a person, constantly, just like they're shooting him, they're shooting missiles at him, shooting bullets. Bullets are having effect to shoot a missile, and John catches it in the air. And he visions it now. He comes down. He's telling everybody to call off their attack. He's not a monster. Person who's doing this,
Right.
and the person who's doing this, says, stay back, don't come any closer. He doesn't know what's going on. Next page, I don't know who I am. I don't know how I got here. I don't know what's happening. All this fire, all this damage, he's caused. He doesn't. And I mean, it's always good to see Superman, whether it's John, it's Clark, just walk into this. Nobody else can.
Mm-hmm.
Walking right into it, trying to find out what's going on. Walking headlong into the fire. Oh.
I love that he says, I'm John. Because I totally forgot that, like, everybody knows him. I guess because, Superman still is outed as Clark Kent.
Yes.
So, he's like, I'm John.
Yeah, that's real. That's nice.
And, yeah, I liked it.
He finds out his pulse is racing and the temperature, his temperature that he's putting out is increasing. His heart rate increasing. Tells the guy to just breathe, and he hugs him. He holds him. Try to calm him down and relax him. And it works. John helps him put out the fire, calms him down, and, he turns him over to the authorities. The guy needs help, and the authorities are here. He's got a sense of authority as Superman's son. And as he goes to fly away, they knock the guy out. They hit him with the butt of the gun and knock him. John swoops down and catches him before he...
John swoops down and loses his shoot.
Yeah, he does.
He is angry. And that just shows you, okay, Superman, it's John, but he's like, he gets angry. Like, Superman has a right to be angry at stuff, like,
yeah,
it's okay. I mean, there is righteous anger. That this person that John was trying to help was just assaulted.
Yeah. The guy says, I'm not risking my people. I have just. He calmed him down, and it all stopped. I mean, unless you guys freaking assault him and cause him to lose control again, it's not expected to happen. But the guy, the soldier says, put him down and turn him. He says, think hard. I really want to go against your government. Next page, we got on the island of Koto Maltese. That place, yeah. John is there talking with Damian. Damian in his new gray Robin suit. Looks like this is a little bit in the future. Damian's a little bit older. Damian looks like an older teen.
They probably aged him up some too, just because they needed to.
So, Damian is in the middle of a tournament. Lots of ninjas, lots of fighting. It probably has something to do with the Robin book.
Yep, which I'm not reading.
No, I read issue 1. I liked it, but I bought issue 1. And then I didn't buy any more because, I had cost.
It'll be on DC Infinite, Universe Infinite soon enough. So
yeah. Thankfully, DC Universe Infinite has now caught up to Infinite Frontier. So any of the books that I haven't read, that at first I started buying most of them, and then had to cut back because it was starting to get unwieldy. Just to read that many books as well as purchase them. So thankfully, DC Universe is here now. And I can read these books that I didn't to so, because I've enjoyed the way Infinite Frontier has been interwoven into all of the books, how a lot of the events have crossover.
Yep.
It was very appealing starting in. Kind of sucks not to kept up on it. But basically it comes down to there are some people in this world who can do with being a little nervous. What do you want that symbol to John says, I know, I do. I don't want to overstep and make people nervous. Robin says some people do with being a little nervous. And he says, what do you want that symbol to stand? John says, truth, justice, and a better world. Just want to.
I love that. I'm going to say, you and I have had long discussions about, the American way when that was coined, what that meant, and how that idea is really lost on this generation. It's like you have to study history to understand what that even means.
Yeah. And the world was so much smaller.
Yeah. So the idea of a better world.
Or rather, bigger. Sorry. The world was bigger. People didn't have as wide-reaching grasp they do. You can talk with somebody on the other side of the planet instantly.
You mean like how we can just dial up friends in Australia right now as if they're just next door and talk to them? Or I can sit here on my watch and send a walkie-talkie to my friend Luke Bugg in England.
Yes.
And chit-chat. Yeah.
So today, America, the American way, doesn't mean a better world means what the American way used
to. Right. But what the good thing is this is not Clark Kent Superman. So for people who are going to complain like, oh, they took out the American way, that's still Clark Kent. This is John Kent.
Yeah. And the last page has Robin saying, it's time for Superman to stop fighting the symptoms. You're powerful enough to.
And then that's kind of John's thing. I mean, you look at where they plotted John as like forming the United Planets and all that. Like, it's John's thing,
Yeah, it seems like John's reach is going to be that much bigger than Superman's.
And I think that's where it comes up.
Or at least more impactful.
Him being his mother's son. And what that means.
Right.
So I like how Damian says, my father's Batman. You think we can't build you another identity? Leave it with me.
Right.
That was just one of my favorite little things that he says.
Yeah. Which we open up to in issue 2.
Yeah, so let's jump into issue 2.
Really cool cover. I swear this is another homage cover. It looks familiar.
I want to say yes, because I feel like that was kind of one of the things they were doing was kind of doing these Superman Son of Kal-El covers as kind of homages to previous Superman covers.
Yeah. So we open up to John watching a live stream of the it's a live stream. It's kind of like, I don't know, but anonymous and stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly what I kind of took it as oh, this is like the anonymous people.
Yeah.
So
which with just keeping with this bit of the story as you go through, here in the beginning, a boatload of asylum seekers have escaped the supposedly glorious nation of Gomorrah and are traveling over roaring seas towards the tropics. And if we skip forward in the issue, to stick with that storyline there, towards end, John is watching Truth reports the boat of asylum seekers, which the Gomorran government insists doesn't exist, is sinking in the North Atlantic Ocean. No help is coming. No country has responded to their distress. Why? The truth is, no one wants to be seen on the side. No one wants to anger the resource-rich nation. No one wants to paint that target on themselves. These leaders don't want to upset a thin-skinned tyrant. And people are about to die. The ship is packed full of people, and a child falls over and begins to drown. John swoops into the water and rescues.
And
Takes the entire ship back to Metropolis.
And that's what Superman does.
So, and then I'm going to stop on that point right there till we get there with the rest of the story.
Mm-hmm. So we have Finn Connors.
Yes, Finn Connors. Blonde wig and sunglasses.
You know, he's like going to school, and I mean,
he got a new identity.
This is hardcore of just the fact that there's some dude sitting in his car loading a clip, thoughts and prayers on all of his bullets. And at a school, you know, this is Metropolis College. So John's in college now. You know, that really helps pinpoint where he is, you know?
Yeah, probably being like a freshman in college.
It's just weird, you know? I was just reading about little 8-year-old John, and now he's in college. I feel like a parent, you know, like my kid's all grown up now. And he's signing up, and then all of a sudden, we have this guy, Kyle, who says, "Shut up, it's too soon to politicize this." And he starts blasting, and as quick as that...
Faster than 67 speeding bullets.
And then there he is, in the air. Finn Connors is now John Kent, Superman. Well, he's Superman at this point yet? Is he? No, or is he still Super?
Well, he's still Superboy at this point.
Yes,
yeah, because we get the John takes him down, saves everybody, stops all the bullets, takes him down. His identity is revealed, and he picks up his Jeep and flies to the moon.
I mean, that's where I would go, you know. And then
if you want some quiet, man, go to the moon. That'd be awesome.
Little heart to heart with his dad, talking about, and he says, "Dad, why don't you do more?" You know, and I think it's a really good discussion. I mean,
yes, I think this is this section of the book. That's why when I skipped over it, come back. This section of the book is very to John's character.
And I think just, you know, thinking about, okay, we'll jump back for a split second. On the recent episode of Supergirl, you know, Zor-El tried to clean up the ocean, okay? That was clunkily done, but the idea of, like, what could Superman do with his technology to just the ocean? You know, that's why one thing I always hated in Superman the movie, yes, there are things that I don't agree with in Superman the movie, was about don't interfere with humans and their progression. And I understood what they were trying to say. You know, it's like they say, if you do that, humans will give up on doing anything. But at the same time, his very presence alters human history.
Yeah. I think you know, it's one, the dependency, you know, the complacency that people would get in. Somebody like that can do anything. But also, if you provide human race with things they aren't ready for, without trial and error, without the problems that come along with it, I mean, it's going to be abused.
Mm-hmm. So I get it, you know, I get it. But at the same time, I'm like, you could have done something a little bit better, okay? Because Superman could very easily clean up the oceans, fix some of the, you know, the planetary destruction that we've done. With his technology, maybe we could find, you know, to quote Buzz Lightyear, crystallic fusion. I just feel like that's where I'm like, if you did more, I will say this. I am not the biggest Star Trek fan. I like Star Trek, okay? But I'm not like, oh my God, it's Star Trek. But when my friend and I, who is a huge Star Trek fan, were talking, and he explained the idea that in Star Trek, the canon is that when aliens arrive, it causes this huge peace among all Earthlings to know that we're not alone. There's something bigger. It creates this kind of harmony where so many of our petty differences that we've fought for years have been set aside. We strive for, just
unity and peace.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, that's really cool. There's a lot of other things in the Star Trek mythology that he was telling me that I found really cool, but that's not what this is about. So the idea is, once you introduce, like, hey, there's aliens, and Superman's an alien. Once you kind of introduce that, and he's on Earth, that changes history forever. So I think it would be his responsibility then to, what can my culture and my technology bring to better this world?
Yeah, and it's not all at once. You know what I mean? Something like that can't be done all at once. It couldn't be introduced all at once.
Right, just like we talked about in All-Star, or was it All-Star? Or also in Superman Doomsday, the film, where he's trying to figure out the cure for cancer. And he hasn't been able to crack it. So he is trying to do something, All right, but back to our book.
Yeah, Superman.
He says, "I need to give you the key to the house."
Yeah, the conversation they have. I think part Superman says, "No, it's okay. Bullets bounce off me. I should be able to handle some constructive criticism. By more." He says, "I think part of me holds back because I wasn't born here. I can help, but I can't lead except by example. Part of me feels it's not my place." John says, "That's idiotic. Your criticism is getting less constructive. You're the greatest hero on the planet. If you won't step up, will." Superman said, "I was thinking of you. This is your planet, John. This is your place. Are you literally dropping the weight of the world on my shoulders? You won't have to lift it alone. You'll have friends to help bear the burden. I don't really have many friends. I was hoping Connors would." Yeah, come on. Where are we going? I need to give you the house.
I have a house key.
Oh, that house key. The giant key to the fortress. It's kind of cool that they've got the giant key back here.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I do like the Dwarf Star Matter key.
Yep.
Where it's just the size of a regular house key.
Yep.
But only Kryptonians could lift it.
It is pretty awesome.
Yeah. So he gives John a present, a new suit. The cape was mine when I was younger. It had some light alien or a lot of damage, but I was able to do wonders restoring it. Batman took care of it. He has a lot of experience repairing damage. Fortress, the suit, why not? I was going to wait to give you this suit on your 18th birthday. There's a chance I'll have it. I think this might be tying into action books.
Mm-hmm.
With what's going on in the war world and everything there.
I think so too. At first, we had hypothesized that maybe it was Superman the Authority, but that feels very either off to the side or farther in the future.
Yeah. Well, Superman and that, yeah, he's losing his powers, he's gray, and that type of stuff. This big, if I do go, I need you to look after this big and very son. And if you feel you need to step up more than I do, I trust you to do it right. So he says he trusts him to step up and get involved the right way. which we get back to the ship.
Yep. And now he's in the costume, his Superman costume that we saw in the future state, Superman Metropolis. More classic with a little bit more of the John-isms built into it.
Yeah, with a more classic S, not the rigid, sharp S that he had before.
Mm-hmm.
Which I can't remember if he got from out space or if he got from the future.
I'm trying to remember because like he in the future when he comes back and he's got like the costume with a little bit more black and stuff in it, with the Legion, and then he got this one. So I don't know. I can't keep
well, he
track.
flies into he rescues the boat. He flies it to Metropolis where they were heading. Look up in the sky. It's a boat.
It's a good use. It's a good
Yeah.
use.
Welcome to the city of tomorrow. So police show up. Everyone stay where you are, leave your belongings on the vessel, and place your hands behind your back. Immediately, John keep visions the handcuffs off. John is not happy. These people who are seeking asylum, who are about to die, all being handcuffed. Son, there are cameras watching. I appreciate what you've done here today. And these people look after you. You need to understand the process. These people need help, not handcuffs.
And then he's like, I'll just remove it. He says, I'll just remove them, Captain. He says, no restraints.
Yeah, John's not happy. Like, these people, yes, there's a process they need to go through to, like, be admitted into this country and stuff like that. Understandable, that's fine. But they're treating them like criminals, and John is not happy.
And I don't want to get all political, but wasn't America a country that we founded on people?
I was going to say, don't we have people in cages right now?
Right.
Families and women and children separated in cages currently right now? Like,
yeah. But wasn't our country founded on the fact of leaving your country and coming somewhere new?
Yeah.
Like, but we're not going to go down that path.
Yeah. John says, it's all right. These people are going to look after you, and I'll check.
And then we find out that there's the guy who broadcast the truth.
Was the guy he was signing up with at college.
Jay Nakamura. And they're talking about the problems with having... And he gives him back his wig. And
did you want your fake hair back? Oh.
and he says, I may be able to help you with that, about getting your identity. But we need to have another conversation first. And then we have the island of Gomorrah and President Henry Benedicts, and says the truth part 1. So awesome. Good, great.
Yeah.
Great,
Next, consequences. I mean, yeah, consequences. He rescued some people. Like, obviously, this guy didn't want something getting out of him. Mora denied the existence of the ship, these refugees, and was insisting they die at sea. And every other country seemed to be okay with that except for John.
Yep.
So, got an introduction here to what must be one of our upcoming movies.
So, Superman Kal-El, can't recommend it enough. Love Tom Taylor's writing. People need to calm down. And he's writing John, not Clark. Calm down.
And he is doing a spectacular job.
All right.
Very good 2 issues.
So do you want to tackle Superman in Action Comics, or do you want to tackle Superman the Authority?
Let's go with the Authority. I would have to run upstairs to find my action.
All right, so let's do the Authority.
We spoke about number 1, didn't we?
Nope, I don't think so. Because I have all the books we haven't reviewed yet right here in a pile on my desk.
Oh.
And I'm like, yeah, I get to put some of these books away.
Yeah, my stuff is not straight yet. Packing has been slow.
So, all right.
Unpacking. I say packing.
Yeah.
has been slow,
Oh, I get it. I get it.
not organized. Oh,
So Superman and the Authority #1, written by Grant Morrison. That's the first thing you have to know.
written by Grant Morrison.
His costume is cool. There's no cape. It's very, what do you call it? It's a very, the chess symbol is very
Kingdom Come.
And like here in this suit, it proves what you can do to help break up the blue without doing trunks is the two-tone blue. We've seen that on Supergirl. We've seen that with the John Kent. And even like in Superman and Lois, I think at certain angles you can see like there's a little bit more of a two-tone blue in the suit. So this book opens in Washington, D.C., November of 1963.
I want to cosplay. I want to go out and trick or treat and get super fast.
You would look dope, so you should definitely do it. I constantly cosplay Superman in the DC YOU, where he just had a T-shirt and jeans. That is my life. I just need to wrap red around my hands and cut my hair real short. So President Kennedy is with Superman. And immediately I'm like, okay, this is weird. And we find out that Superman's on the moon when President Kennedy is shot. And then we find out that we're now in South London, United Kingdom, and it's Manchester Black. And he's being attacked by people who are trying to bring him in. And there's giant robots in the background we kind of see. And I'm reading this like, what? So
Looks like War of the World Brainiac robots.
Right. So they're shooting at Manchester. Then we have a great, I'll take over now, gentlemen, ladies, others. And Manchester wakes up in the fortress.
Like they shot him. Like he gets shot through the chest twice, like through the upper left shoulder and through the the lower right of his chest cavity, his thoracic cavity.
It's intense. He's in the fortress, and Superman says, I made a promise to Jack Kennedy, and I'm running out of time to fix it. I need to set things right, whatever it takes. I think you can help me, Manchester Black. And he says, finally, I'm in hell, punished for my many, many sins, Superman. And immediately I'm like, okay, so this isn't really tying into where I thought it was with John Kent as Superman. Like, something different's going on here. This is a Elseworld side story farther in the future.
Yeah. Superman, he goes back farther. He was there in the 60s. And this is the future.
And like you said, like Manchester is really hurt, and Superman's heat visioning his spine to fix it.
Yeah,
he was wheelchair.
Yeah, he was down. Like, he's paralyzed, and he's using Kryptonian nanotech to fix him, like heal him from the inside, repair his injuries from the inside out.
So it's very interesting why he's going after Manchester. And he starts saying things like, you could stay here, you could stop running, and together we could do some good. And they're going back and forth. Superman's like, I hope this works out. There's a Phantom Zone thing. Phantom Zone breach that's coming. And Superman's standing there ready to fight. Manchester goes outside, comes back inside. And he's getting beat by these Phantom Zoners that are breaching. And then Manchester helps him with his telekinesis. And they do it together.
What's interesting, the images we're getting, Phantom, like, it's like people, like their phantoms are inside of machines or something. And I mean, it looks like either Feora or Ursa. There's a guy with a bald head and a goatee.
Mm-hmm.
He could be any number of characters. I mean, different Jaxor, Zod, or something similar. And then the Ghost King.
Mm-hmm.
So he's there as well.
I just think it's fascinating how Superman talks about, I know, but we made a fatal mistake. We were so certain we were winning, we thought we didn't have to try. And then it shows the execution of Kennedy. Never take anything for granted, Mr. Black, nor anyone. It says Earth's orbit, and we see it looks like Eclipso, some other people, someone big in the dark who has kryptonite. Then we're back to basically it looks like this is King Arthur's round table, the actual round table. And Superman says, I fought at the sides of one or two of the various Arthurs. I rescued this from the second fall of Camelot. Arthur entrusted the table to me. And I'm just like, okay.
Yeah,
right.
That's an idea that Grant Morrison did. He's obviously like traveled time, fought next to King Arthur's plural. Yeah. Maybe the multiverse. He's fought for different King Arthurs on different planets. I don't know. That's definitely something Grant Morrison, but it's really freaking. I love King Arthur, so it was just really cool to have him put that in there.
So it was just one of those like, all right,
right.
And then so he convinces Manchester to help him out, and they toast. And Manchester spits out. He's like, "It's mineral water." Ugh.
Yeah, like, I have a pre-existing medical condition where if I don't consume alcohol on an hourly basis, I go into. And he's just like alcohol dependency. It's going into withdrawals.
He's like, and he ends up like just throwing up over the top of the world globe, and says 2V continued. And then all these, what's interesting is all these issues have in the back a DEO like little thing where it's Bones watching everybody throughout the multiverse. I'm like, maybe that's going to be something. We'll see.
So, I mean, that right there seems to be like it, because it's in the back of every issue. Mm-hmm. So, that seems to tie into what's happening on Infinite Frontier, because Bones in that is monitoring and trying to do things with multiverse. There, everybody's afraid of multiverse.
All right, so
that because it's like widely known.
We'll jump into issue 2. Issue 2 starts with what I picture as James's morning routine. It's Superman laying there lifting weights, which translates to like lifting planets, and then he's running on his own kind of hamster wheel of energy.
That's 1,208 miles per hour.
This is how I picture.
That's
James
a nice brisk run.
Getting ready in the morning. So I don't know if that's true or not, but that's just what I think.
I need to start getting up and working out in the morning again.
I try. Every time I decide I'm going to get up earlier, 2 things happen. 1, the kids won't go to bed at night and keep waking up and disturbing me. Or 2, I wake up early, but somehow my kids wake up earlier too.
Yeah. Well, when I was doing it, I would put my kids to bed at 8, and then I'd be laying down at 8:30. I'd be passed out by 9 o'clock, and I'd be up at 4:30 to make breakfast in the gym.
So, if I could only split myself in 2.
Right? Give me a half that. Give me one of me that wakes up at 4:30 in the morning, goes to the gym. Give me the other me that stays up till 11 o'clock.
Doing the stuff it needs to do.
Exactly.
Yep. All right. So James's workout's complete. And then we get the Steelworks, Metropolis HQ of the Family Steel. We see Uncle John, and we see his niece. And what's his niece's name, James? Natasha.
Yeah. I was like, is it Natalie or is it Natasha?
I thought it was Natalie. Am I wrong? Wait, because they said Nat.
Nat versus Net. Nat versus Net.
I was wrong.
I think it's Natalie.
Yeah, I think that is Natalie. I don't know why I was thinking Natasha, but I don't know.
Now I got to look it up.
Because I feel like they changed something, but I need to. It's like I used to have the mind to keep up with that stuff like in detail, but I have kids that are little. But it's Nat versus Net. I thought that was cool. Like, we see her in her iron steel outfit with her hammer fighting something that is ugly.
Oh, no. Natasha Irons.
Okay. See, I wasn't off. See how TV shows can interfere with your thought process. She'd be fighting some ugly-looking, tribal-looking dudes. They say some weird stuff to her, too, because she's fighting the internet, so it's interesting. Like the physical manifestation of the internet. That's weird.
Yeah, that was.
So we're back at the fortress. Superman with it's Manchester Black, but the way they draw him looks like purple-headed Constantine. like it's just Superman has his own plane, and I thought that was cool.
Looks pretty cool. Like look at the plane.
And then we have Apollo and Midnighter. And this feels very Grant Morrison almost. The artwork changes the feel of it because of the color pattern. And the brain thing they're fighting reminds me of the way that Parasite looked like in All-Star.
Yeah. Well, because they do say that the kids were traded as they built their very own Frankenstein using child and giant pro wrestlers.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds pretty horrible.
Yeah,
sounds pretty.
It's got like 3 brains inside of it, and Manchester and Superman show up, and he meets Apollo, and it's just interesting because then we turn the page and we're in a whole other story. Like, it's like this issue is like micro stories. You have Nat versus Net. You have Apollo and the Midnighter are hard, and then you have the Enchantress, Bride of Nizamor,
which the Midnighter and Apollo title is, I think, tongue in cheek.
You think?
Because it's they're a gay married couple. They're gay men. I did not forget our anniversary. I got you something special. You're on a team with that sexy dad super, not skinny next gen. So yeah, I think the title of that is a little tongue in cheek.
But this Enchantress story is like creepy. Like, she's going with her to Hilltop Hotel, and she's with it's a young couple, and the masquerade. Yes, the change that's coming here, waiting. And then you turn the page, and like the way they use the red and the blue, the red and the green. And basically, this guy, he says, maybe it's time I came clean, June Moon. Not just me, but 1 or 2 others in my social set have been I've taken to dabbling in, well, what some people call Satanism. This is, sweetheart, I pledge your soul, precious, pristine soul, to the entities that were ancient long before Satan was conceived in the mind of man. And it's like a mirror, and she sees a witch, like a standard-looking kind of witch. And his name's Alan, and he like pushes her into the mirror, and like once he does that, she goes from being green to red, and she's in front of Desmore, this blob-faced looking tiki guy. And then the witch is on the outside. But then it's weird because now it's like, is she in a psychiatric hospital?
Yeah, it says Hilltop Sanatorium.
But it says Hilltop Asylum. And they're going to give her a lobotomy. And she's seeing this guy in her mind. And like they really do a great job with the coloring of the red and the green. And then all of a sudden the bottom panel, like there's light shining in. You have God is dead, you see. No power on earth exists to. And you just see a fist that says, we disagree. Punching little tiki blob man. And then you see June Moon, the name. And we are now in what appears to be the reality. It says, June, you're in hell. And then she says, but that means you are too. It happened. It's all my fault. Everything's my fault. And she looks like she's been through it. And Superman says, none of that matters. Take my hand. We're here to get you out.
Next, Superman and the Authority in Hell.
And we see Apollo, Midnighter, and Steel. And it was a trippy issue, honestly. Just because of all the like little tiny micro stories. But it's an interesting book that I feel like once it's done, I'm gonna have to revisit and completely.
Oh yeah, this is a book I'm definitely getting to grade when it comes. I have all the issues and grade. It's Grant Morrison. It's written really well. It's really cool how the opening is basically like Superman and Manchester talking about building a team.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like we get vignettes of each of the team members. Steel, Midnighter, and Apollo, and the Enchantress. And then we return to, the team coming together. And writing our next issue, which comes out this week. So excited.
All right, so we're going to put a pin in our comics there. We're running long, and next time we'll pick up with some Batman, Superman.
Action.
And then the next issues. All right, good listeners. Remember, check us out and keep on.
Look up in the sky.